Feel like there's always a new employment law or HR requirement that you have to unpack or decipher? With only so many hours in a day, it is hard to keep up. I know it is ridiculously hard for me and my clients. That's why Comply Right, who is the leading provider of employment law compliance solutions, actually developed a podcast that is easy to digest. It's called Talking HR Compliance, and it covers trending HR topics like hiring and record keeping, along with tax reporting and legal compliance. And you get practical insights you can use from an experienced HR solution manager who's actually seen it all. And that's what we all need. Just tell us what to do. Check it out over a morning cup of coffee or on your commute. You can find it where you listen to any of your podcasts, whether it be Google, Stitcher, Apple, or Spotify. And make sure you subscribe. Again, it's called Talking HR Compliance. You don't want to miss an episode.
Potent advice and inspiration from real self-made millionaires. Welcome to The Eventual Millionaire with your host, Jaime Masters.
Welcome to Eventual Millionaire. I'm Jaime Masters, and today on the show, I'm very excited to have Sheevaun Moran. You can check her out at sheevaunmoran.com. She's a master coach, and she's created a program called the Energetic Solution. I'm so excited to talk to her today. Thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me. Excited.
Whenever there's something in a bio that says quantum energy, I'm a fan. I didn't say it out loud because I want you to sort of define it and sort of walk us through some of this stuff. So tell me a little bit more.
So it's kind of like we have the idea of energy as coffee and Red Bull and internal drive and running and all of those things. And there's actually a client of mine who was a scientist. He said there's almost 99% of our world is unseen. And so there's a quantum aspect of this that we're not utilizing that is from inside of us and around us. I call this around us stuff, the material we can work with. And so that's kind of a shortened version of what quantum is. I like the idea of quantum because I like Einstein and all that geeky stuff. So
I appreciate that because I absolutely love it too. And I feel like what's interesting, especially the logic-minded people that listen to the show, because I was a programmer before, so we get a lot of logic-minded people, need to be sort of proved by science that this is true, right? And when we look at science and we look at what we're talking about on the energy side, it feels like sometimes one side is super woo-woo and one side is science, but they're almost kind of the same. Can you tell us a little bit more about what your energetic solution in general so we can get sort of context?
Yeah, so I'm a scientist. I started programming when I was 14. So I get what you're talking about. Super left brain, super like focused. Prove it to me. It's not real until you prove it to me. But my own history, long history, but got sick, misdiagnosed, nearly died, healed myself. I was like, oh, this makes sense to the way I've been thinking since I was a little girl. And the really interesting thing about energy and what we do and how we do things in our own life is we generally we've been taught to generate it from here and from here. And the woo-woo stuff's important. But what I've done is I've said, well, we have the woo-woo and it's really important. Really, even if it's you're skeptical, that's okay. So whatever your spirituality, whatever your woo is, that's cool. I love it. But we need the moolah. So I have a brand called Woolah.
That's really funny.
I know, it's true. We actually have stickers that people just clamor for because they're so cool. I'm on my phone, so you can't see it, but anyway, because it really it signifies the woo stuff. And it doesn't dishonor it. It really blends the moolah stuff. So we really become moolahs. And so if you're in business of any sort, no matter where you're at, you're a moolah because it's the greatest journey you're ever going to be on.
Okay, give me more of the strategy of how we do this. So these are all business owners that are going, okay, that's great. And I know that if I potentially use more energetic solutions in my business, I might have better results, right? Because it's not just about the tactics, it's about the energy around it also. So what are some of the basics and pieces that you actually walk people through?
So one of the things that is super important for every business owner is, say we go to a networking thing, we come away and we've gotten all of these leads, yet we're feeling like, oh my God, I feel so drained. We've all felt it, right? Particularly women more so, because we got a little bit more of those assets. And what has happened is there's an energetic exchange that is out of balance. And the fascinating thing is it needs to come back to you so you can get back on your train, your track, and what you're doing and get there faster. So it's not easy to be like, oh, just let them go and let that conversation go, or let that opportunity, fulfill its destiny the way it's supposed to be. Or are you pushing too hard? Are you not pushing hard enough? And the fascinating, cool part is the more you become part of your own energy, meaning you cut, and there's some videos I'm going to give y'all, you cut and disconnect from other people's energies, you actually become more of you, and you actually become a better conversationalist, a better salesperson, a better tech geek, whatever you're doing.
So to me, and I liken it towards like boundaries also. A lot of people can use boundaries as sort of a thing, but energetically cutting, what do you mean by energetically cutting?
Yeah. So think about this. I used to go and speak when I was in corporate in front of giant audiences, and I go back to my hotel room and I do what I called recovering from anywhere from 45 minutes to 5 days, depending upon what was going on. And after I got sick and healed myself, I was like, there's something more. And so in science, there's this thing called string theory, right? So right now I'm talking on a string through the earphones. We're talking with a wireless, like an unseen string. So there's strings everywhere. There's strings between each conversation, each person. And they're always communicating something. And in order to disconnect only the things that are not serviceable, meaning not really in your healthiest and best interest, meaning the only thing you don't want to cut is love, right? The only thing you can't cut is love. So you cut away the strings so you can get to be like, I can breathe and figure out which of these leads is most important for me to go next and contact. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So are you physically sort of looking at your list and then cutting
samurai
things?
Sword. No, it's just like you go at the end of the day, you're in your car, you're at the end of the thing, or you're back at home and you're like, 1, 2, 3, cut. I'm out. And that's it. I make everything. So here's the cool part about me. I take all of these super complicated ancient principles and I make them super practical for business today. So it's not like, oh, you have to get your mind straight. You have to do some yoga and do some balance. No, I'm not like that. I'm like, yeah, let's deal with the energetics and really get back to running our businesses the way that it's going to be whole. It's going to be more fulfilling and it's going to be easier. You'll find more happiness. And those clients who are like dragging you down, you can just cut those negative conversations and be like, okay, let's reset. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, I totally do because I've done it before. And I thought it was super cheesy, really, it right?
Not cheesy.
So I'd feel if it works, no matter if it's cheesy or not. Yeah.
That's right.
Because I used to feel, especially after I'd batch all my client days and depending on, I mean, I have ideal clients, so they're not too bad, but especially a long time ago, I just feel so exhausted and so drained. And then I'd try and give to my kid, and it just was so much. And someone taught me this and I thought it was really cheesy at first. And I was like, you know what? Fine. I'm just going to do it. I don't cut them. I pull them. I pull all my strings, all the cords. Yeah. But I was like, maybe that is. I'm going to keep doing it. All right, good, right? And then as it starts to add up. So give me more of those tips because apparently that one worked for me. What else do you tell people? And maybe I can glean some more info from you that I can start thinking is crazy at first and then works.
So one of the fascinating things about that teaching is they never allowed it. It's an ancient Chinese teaching, truly. And they never allowed it to be taught because with any good, you can do harm. But basically, you can never cut love. And the cool part about it is if you only do, and I'm going to give y'all 6 videos, so that way you have the 6 coolest things. If you only ever do this one technique the way I teach it, you will feel so much better. So one of the other pieces is I have a grounding technique. It's really difficult because you can't see my whole body. That's in the videos. Let's do this one. Touch the tip, take your left finger to the tip of your nose and tap 3 times. 1, 2, 3. It's not like little magical stuff, but it's actually a focus technique I used to teach all my corporate clients. The big CEOs who are like not being great humans. I was like, okay, we need to get you focused and tap, tap, tap. And so this got all of those ADD type personalities. I used to be one. I get it.
Wait, I have ADD. Yeah, keep telling me. Keep telling me.
I get it. I used to be one. And it really gets you into the zone. It's maybe about 15 minutes, but really we have pockets and windows of time that are super useful that are going to help by this touching of the nose thing. And it helps take all of this chatter out here and get you into the one thing that you need to work on for those solid 15 minutes. And energetically, what it does is it says, brain, do this thing, and you have this window of time, and then you can go off and do your other things. So it really gives all of this into one pointed arena, and you can actually accomplish more with less.
Okay, by tapping, is it like an NLP anchor or something?
No, none of the, so see, here's the cool part. I never studied any of that stuff. I have been an energy geek since I was 3. So I would just come up with these weird hacks when people would say, hey, like when I was in corporate, they'd say, hey, I have a hangover. Can you fix this? Hey, I have this problem. Can you fix this? Hey, I'm thinking bad thoughts about these people and my clients. Can you do that? And so they would ask me all these questions. So I come up with these cool things. And then I found that they've been around for thousands and thousands of years, which is awesome. So this little tapping of the nose allows all of your brain power to really go here for a really good amount of time for you to really say, okay, I got this. And then you can back off, right? It's really fun.
Well, great. So Pomodoro technique is usually what I tell my clients, which is 20-minute and a timer and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to make them tap their nose first and then do the Pomodoro.
Exactly.
So how do you not have ADD anymore?
So it's not like I don't, it's just harnessed really well in a very, did you ever see that movie Monsters Incorporated? Mm-hmm. Right. And so it's kind of like you see the doors going by in the, it's almost like a dry cleaner, mm-hmm. but the doors are kind of going by and doors are kind of going by. And I had this idea that if I could just open one door at a time while that's all still going. So I created this whole system, and we actually use that in our own companies meaning plural, yes. In Trello, so that my brain can do its creative stuff and my strategies and systems, etc., are really put in a way that makes actually super logical sense once you've gotten it. But we're not trained in school how to have our creative really play with logic. So I actually put those two together. And so that's kind of how I manage it.
How is Trello? Now I'm very, very curious. I use Asana, but we teach Trello and we teach Asana, and I'm wondering exactly what the system looks like, because I would love to know how to set it up that it would help with the ADD side. Right now, what we do is I just don't let anybody assign me anything until I really have to know it, and then I only have a handful. That's what I do. But what do you do?
So it's super easy and super complicated, but it's really about how we have the flow handled and the process of start, in process, etc. So we only have 7 columns. And I always say, if it's my face, I shouldn't have my face on anything at the end of the day. Right. And at the beginning of the day, my face should be on a lot of things just so I can look and check and be quick. And it's just like, etc. And so it's really like the baton, and it's so fascinating how simple it is to run 3 companies with it and communicate easily and fluidly and really get ideas across and not lose the trail.
How does your day look then? Are you doing a lot of the high intense work in the morning? Like how do you deal with especially switching tasks and everything?
So I get up at between 4:30 and 5. And between that time to 10 is my personal time. And it's my time to write. I've written 12 books, and I write all of our blogs and I write all of our emails. I have so much information to share. Particularly this energy thing, because not a lot of people are talking about it in a really good, productive way. Right. So I write a lot and do that. And then, and then I jump into meetings, etc. But I'm pretty, I have a couple solid book solid days, but the rest is really about exploring as to what can we do as an organization to get out there and be more of impact, have the proper income, and really streamline. So it's just like, okay, is there something easier or better? And so I don't have a lot of tasks. Truly, it's my biggest geekdom is how easy can we make it? Like we use Zapier to like extreme. We use, we have all of these little systems that have said, we had a meeting the other day that said, I was like, I have a dream to my tech guy. I have a dream that this and this and this and this and this and this and this come together. And being an ex-coder, I know it's doable. And he said, oh, I think I can do that. I think I just need a few different components, and I think I can give that to you. And so that will take 3 hours off of one of my team's plate, which will then actually take and give me back another 45 minutes.
Totally. How do you prioritize some of that stuff, especially when ADD-like person that has all these ideas and potentially in what's going and what's not going? Do you have to reshuffle and prioritize stuff?
So I deal based upon energy. So energy is my first language always, interestingly. And it has always been, no matter what company I was helping build, no matter what client I'm helping, I'm looking at the energy first to be like, where is the energy go in a kink, kind of bungled up? And is there something here that needs to be addressed, or is it just going to work itself through? So I'm using energy first, and we teach those systems. And then, I'm finishing a book on that, by the way, for businesses, thank God. And then the prioritization, just simply enough, says, where's the greatest impact and revenue stream? Meaning, is it going to, am I going to be tithing? I think Evan Payton calls it move the free line, whatever, but I call it tithing. Where am I giving back to the community that is going to help somebody so that eventually maybe they'll come back to me, or I'll hear from them 5 years later and be like, I heard you somewhere and I know that you're for me, but I'm not ready for you, or I heard you and I need to, so it's like, what little breadcrumbs can I leave out there that are going to help get somebody's world opened up? Like the cord cutting thing, I've been teaching for 20 years. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people I've taught that to, but it's out there. Cool. I love it. So my prioritization is impact. And then is there can I make this revenue work for myself and, if I'm working with clients?
Well, and I know you work with a lot of clients too. So can you give me some stories of, especially because the frazzled entrepreneur that has things getting thrown at them at all times, right? And don't lead by energy, right? And might be a bit drained potentially. Yeah. Besides doing the cord cutting and the nose tapping thing, what do you have people sort of walk through, and what's sort of the beginning and the end of what it looks like after working with you?
So the wildest thing that confuses most people is I actually focus on getting people financially free first.
Free first. Okay. First. So not frazzled, but financially free. In what way? Tell me more.
Wow. So I always there was a beautiful soul I was talking with yesterday who ex-corporate finance geek something, and she was off. Somebody had her doing off this other crap. And I was like, oh, no. I said, this is the avenue I need you to go. This is the avenue that your soul is telling you that has been pointing you in this direction, but everyone is telling you to do this other stuff and you're following what they're saying. And so what I'm teaching folks is to find the path of least resistance to their greatest income stream soonest.
Okay.
And that's, some people call it alignment. I call it, you're doing something that you don't know that you're doing that is totally connected with what you're here to do. Now we just want to teach you to monetize it.
Oh, okay. So greatest income. So it's not like, I know that my greatest income stream could potentially be washing 100 cars a day or whatever. I'm just making this up. Whatever the action is, and you go after it and you hate it, but it's the greatest income stream. It actually has to be aligned with whatever your strengths or what you're here to do.
Yeah, so you'll be surprised. Well, a lot of people are super surprised at what we come up with is to be like, so I'll give you an example. You asked for stories. So I'll give you an example. I give you one of that woman and we put her on a track of, okay, these are the kind of people you're looking for. And she's like, that's so confusing. That sounds too easy. Yes, that's the point. Another woman who is a branding gal, she does branding and marketing, and she was beat up in the branding world, and she was doing all of these other things. And I was like, no, this one ninja space is you. Go and create that whole platform and message and that whole schematic that is the essence of everything that's about the company, in the company, out the company, the client, and it's not unusual, but she couldn't see it and she wasn't even close to it. And often we're doing a bunch of little things around it, and we're not actually learning how to get the revenue to come to us. And that's a big, important piece, to come to us in a way that is our greatest ally. And we have to learn to break our habits of how we ask for money and ask for money in a very new way.
How tell us more about that, because like money coming to us is what people want, but
that's a long conversation. But right now, let's just take it and back it up to as simple as I can make it. So if you're worried about what they're thinking, you're not going to be asking for money in the right way, right? If you're in their head about what they're doing, there's no way that you can be in your own business doing and asking for the sale or the money in the way that is whole and true for you.
Okay.
It's impossible.
Okay.
Some people are really good at, I'd rather give it away. That's a really big thing, particularly for newbies and in first couple of years. And it's like, my rule is no, you better not be giving stuff away, because you're setting up a history of if you give it away, then people are going to assume it. And then you actually end up without any energy. So if you're giving your stuff away, so think about this energetically, y'all, is if you're giving your stuff away, you're actually giving all of your energy to them and you don't have anything back. And so that little dollar exchange, that little monetary exchange is, we'll say, creator's way of saying, yep, here, this is how we do goods and services. And this is how we actually help each other have more energy. So if you can think of it like that, start with the cord cutting and that, you're going to actually have better asks. So there's a lot more complication to it, but start with those
so many
two.
Questions. Yeah, so
I know, right?
I want to dig a lot deeper, because I went back to at the beginning. I didn't charge anyone. I couldn't charge anyone. I was horrible. Even my coach at the time told me to charge my best friend $25 for a month of coaching back, and you know what I mean. And I was already stressed out anyway with the little kiddos and all that fun stuff, and so it was like, if you told me that back then, I would have been like, I didn't have enough confidence in myself. I needed to prove it to myself first before I could ask for money and get results. What would you say to people that are going through that right now?
Well, cool part about it is I actually don't focus on the confidence. I focus on something that is way more important. And it's really about, what is the value? What can I do that is going to serve somebody? So when I left corporate, very high paying corporate job, I had my income completely back within the first 9 months. And it's not like I was trying, but I really just went with the intention and the idea of, I'm sharing something and there has to be something that is shared back. And it can't just be for free. And I already knew that essence. I knew that from having helped build 5 companies. I just didn't know it energetically. And I didn't know most people don't do this. So I was very clear of, okay, well, therapists charge this and doctors charge this. I actually went and paid a doctor in cash. I was like, I want to pay a doctor in cash and find out how much doctors charge. It was $285. I was like, oh, well, freaking $300 an hour, man. That's totally a deal. So you really have to go and prove it rather than try to get the confidence, in my humble opinion. Because if you can prove it, then the confidence starts coming.
Yeah, well, it's a catch-22, right? Like it makes it very difficult, especially when you're not good at what you do, right? Like if you've done it before and you at least know that you had such a high level of skill set beforehand, it seems like then it's easier. Did you already have the confidence, not the confidence to charge, but the confidence in the skill set?
No, I was doing woo crap before it was any cool, before it was cool to talk about it. I was talking about energy as bioelectric magnetic field.
That's awesome. Which is true.
It is accurate, but that's how I was talking at the time. And people would be like, I don't know what you do, but things miraculously happen whenever you do what you do. So I want more of that.
Tell us a little bit more about what the synchronicities that can line up when you actually line up the energy, because I think that's the thing that people just assume we're a world of grit and doing things that we hate gets us money, or we hustle, or right. There's so many other pieces to this culture that we have. So tell me a little bit more about how you can do it with joy, like you're talking about.
Yeah. It doesn't mean, okay, so let's back up and let's talk with the grit and the hard and the hustle. And so that's actually industrial age. So if you think about it, it's industrial age, and it's when we were out building houses and steel mills and all of these other things, and thread and yarn and all of these things, right? That's the industrial age. And so those words are from a time that actually doesn't exist anymore. So we're in an energy age because we have Wi-Fi. Like when I first started this, we didn't have Wi-Fi. So I didn't have an easy way to say that, hey, you can talk to somebody in your head on the other side of the world. Now you can actually talk to somebody in your head on the other side of the world. So really what we've done is we've taken all of these concepts that are esoteric and we're now outsourcing them into technology, right? And so it's like, okay, where is it that somebody has a desire to get their message out there, yet everyone has what I called pooped on their party, right? Family, friends, teachers, blah, blah, blah. That's stupid. That's silly. That's wrong. I always say, if you really, really feel it, meaning sense it in here, and it doesn't make sense to anybody else, but it's just like, I got to go and do it. I always say, put your fingers in your ears kind of thing, go la, 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 and find somebody to help you get it and monetize it first. Because most people build a website and the Instagram and all those things first. I'm like, no. Learn how to monetize it first so that all of those things are secondary and we can just jam on getting you ahead and out there more. So if you can do this out of, I want to help somebody because I needed help somewhere, it's going to get you started, and it's actually going to leave breadcrumbs as to what your alignment aspect is. I happen to find it being pushed into it. I always sensed and expressed and tried to figure out why everybody didn't see and talk and understand things that I could see, and I just didn't say anything. And so my own near death after having, when I was in the middle of building one of the companies, I was like, oh, I get it. People don't think like me. I didn't understand. And so we all have our own unique way of thinking, and everybody wants to put us in their box. I always say, you have a sphere of influence that you actually have, that is unique, that you're here to do and share and give and get money from, energy from. It's supposed to be a great exchange. You have something. That is exactly why we're all put here. And now we just tap into that. And it's a little tap and then a little tiny tap, get the energy back, get the energy sorted out, clean up the poopy thoughts, little tap ahead, so I call it the upward trending spiral rather than what most I've seen out there teaching is this, go hurry fast, yay, get the car and get the this and do the this and push. And then big collapse energetically, right? And a lot of those folks come to me to fix them. So I teach, let's teach this. Okay, great. And so you swing down a little bit and then you go up again. And then you maybe swing down a little bit and then you go up again. And it continues to build on each other so that you have a long, sustainable set of income and skills that you can continue to build from, or grow into something else, or sell, or go and find that next thing that you want to do. But it doesn't ever have to be hard like the industrial age.
How do you get people to figure out what that is? Besides hiring you, how do they figure out what it is for themselves? Because if it seems so innate that they don't notice it, right? That's why they'll buy a million programs, I'm assuming, and they get the advice from this person and that doesn't work, and they get advice from this person and that doesn't work. How do they actually figure that stuff out?
I love that you said that. And that was that conversation with that girl yesterday. She says, I think you're going to ask me to buy something. I said, actually, I'm going to tell you not to because you're not ready for me. So the most important thing is, what do you have that you're doing that you would give away for free? And go and do that. And then learn to ask for the money. What do you have that you would give away for free? I had one client and she would give away for free these amazing, like, cool knitted scarves. And she's like, I want to be a clarity coach. And I was like, yeah, but I would pay you $400 for that thing. She's like, really? Yes, I totally would. It was so gorgeous. So we're doing something already, and it's look in your own world. Maybe write a list. Maybe write a list for a month of 10 things every day. And you're going to have to push yourself if you write a list of 10 things every day. There's an audio that we have. Oh, this is coming. Living Wealthy and Prosperous. And a friend of mine, one of the companies I helped build was a pharmaceutical company. And he wanted out bad. And he's like, I'll do whatever you say. I was like, listen, all right, get all of my audios, do all of them. But more importantly, listen to this one, and it's going to lead you to your thing. And he's like, you're a sicko. And I was like, yes, I am, but it's going to work. And so in there, it goes over 100 and some odd things, and really pulls it out. And now he's a really well-known financial planner. And he's like, I would have never gone in that direction had I not gone through all of those exercises of 100 and some odd things.
So people can find it themselves. It just takes a lot of introspection, or?
No, you can find it yourself, but you have to be willing to say, oh, it's that? Huh. What if people paid me for that? It's kind of like that.
Okay.
That sounds very flimsy, but I know everybody who is going to watch and listen, they're going to be like, yeah, that kind of came to me like this, and this kind of moved in this direction. If those are happening, pay attention and then start saying yes, and then start saying more yeses. And if it makes illogical sense, not meaning NLP nonsense, right? Truly.
Oh, okay. Is it nonsense?
Truly it is. Yes.
Okay.
Energetically, it will turn you upside down.
Oh.
It will actually take you off your path.
Oh, NLP will.
I'm sorry. God bless you all, NLP people. I love you all. You're amazing. But energetically, I've just seen too many things. I know too much about it.
Okay.
Just saying. There are some that are really good, but anyway. But if you're looking to do it that way, you can't get there faster. You can actually get there faster if you're going to say, hey, you know what? There's this one thing that I do, and let me just see, let me go and give this to people, and then let me just find out if they're going to pay me for it. And if they pay you for it, great. Then you start saying yes, and if it makes illogical sense, we'll go back to that for a second. Illogical sense means it's a higher kind of wisdom-y kind of thing that's like, that doesn't quite make sense. I got to do that. Do a little investigation. Don't be like hook, line, sinker, and pull. Do a little investigation. Make sure that it's real and true and whole. I'm a scientist, so I'm all about that. Have a conversation and then stay out of the logic and start saying yeses.
So if they already have what the purpose is, or they have that thing that they're actually starting to make some money, how do they actually make that go way bigger? How do they scale the thing already? Especially if it's like a service-based, if they are a coach or if they are a branding expert or whatever, and it's a service-based thing and that's their secret sauce, how can they really grow and scale that to be really big?
Well, that's when you really have to hire people that are going to show you the path, because doing it on your own, unless you've done it, and I have done it multiples of times before I started this, and I didn't know that most people don't. Unless you really help people scale to the, multi millions, you're going to top out at a particular type of knowledge, and you're going to top out at a particular baseline of income. And it's really a fascinating thing about how people top out. Some people top out because they don't delegate well. Some people top out because they hire the wrong people. Some people top out because they're unconscious, really playing a game. Some people, everyone has their own stuff. And this is when I say the entrepreneurial journey, totally the most spiritual journey you could ever be on for whatever your spirituality is, because it's going to make you deal with your stuff, and it's going to make you deal with what you think you don't know, and it's going to make you learn that you better not be saying, I know this. I always call that the need to be right. Most entrepreneurs have the need to be right. I'm like, oh, I got it, I'm good. I always say, well, what's your income? And they'll give me a number, and I'll say, well, what do you want? And then they'll give me this, I want $10 million. I'm like, well, then you don't get it. Because if you really knew it, then you would already be at 10 million. So that's a really big thing, is put a big pin in the, do I have a need to be right on this?
I just made me think of my daughter, who doesn't want any information because she knows all the things. So I was like, yeah, that's great, right? But it also makes, go ahead.
So there's a cool story, and this happened with one of my clients last night. Super brilliant, amazing. He is a coder of like one of those natural coders. He never had to take classes or anything. And what we discovered last night, and he's building this 3D cool company thing. And what we discovered last night is he said, oh, I had this thing that I didn't need to learn stuff, that I already knew everything. And so really what it's done is it's hindered him getting sales, because he has all of these leads and everybody wants to say yes. And he is in this. And so it's really fascinating. So we'll see if he gets the sale today. I expect that he will. But he had this big thing from when he was a child, because things came so easy. And he really just had a sense of things. But the challenge we face is we have to really learn to take that hat off.
And actually learn something new, so you can actually change the game of what you're working on.
Well, not just learn something new, but learn to play the game of life, right? We actually have to learn to play the game of life, because the game of life is actually made from nature. And there's a higher game that is energetic that we can play that's easier, more fun. I don't really consider anything that I do work. I mean, except dealing with the IRS, and refinancing, that's kind of work. But some people don't find that work. But that's me. I find that work. And it's like, how much energy can I expend at doing something that is going to be of value to somebody else? And I don't consider any of it. And I feel like if I can do more of it, I can be a gift and help more and more folks. It would be like, how many suns can I light? How many little lights can I help get sparked up and light and doing their amazing work out there in some way and out in the world? And that would be my mission. And if I'm in that, then monetization comes back.
Well, so in the coder example, then for him, how do you get him to play the game of life? What is that? You said he needs to remove the hat. So what is that? How do you get him to play the game of life in a fun way?
So his game of life was, so I was like, go and be an 8-year-old and just go and ask people for stuff out loud.
Okay.
So that was his last night
for his calls. Oh, okay. Or just in general in life where he gets to. In general in life for the moment. And let's see what the response is, because I know I've watched him interact with folks. And when I see him do this funny 8-year-old energy, that's the energy I see him doing. He's able to it just naturally comes, and people say, yes, of course, I will pay you for that. I will do that with you. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So the resistance that he was feeling from beforehand of his childhood self versus the new 8-year-old energy of being able to match that.
Well, fascinating. He wasn't feeling resistance. He just wasn't getting sales. He wasn't getting sales.
Okay. So, but he wasn't feeling any resistance. Why weren't they saying yes if he was aligned with it? Do you know what I mean? Or is it just because he wasn't feeling it?
The result. So here's something interesting. Because I focus on the money piece, the money is going to tell me where the energy goes or doesn't go.
Okay.
So that's where I start. So that's the answer to what you just asked. Because he wasn't getting money. He wasn't getting the sale.
Okay.
He had a lot of leads and he wasn't getting the sale.
Okay. I think I get it. He was asking for money or he wasn't asking for the sale.
It was an implied ask.
Oh.
It was an implied ask.
Okay. That makes more sense. Okay. That makes sense. Because I was going, if he was asking, he must have been getting no's and he must have been asking in a way that wasn't receptive.
Oh,
okay.
Right. He wasn't even getting no's. He was just getting the implied ask, the implied yes.
Oh.
A lot of people do that in their business, don't they?
Totally. Yes. You actually have to ask the question if you want to get the sale. And yeah, that's something that a lot of people don't understand. I know I didn't at first. I was like, oh yeah, I guess I kind of do have to actually ask and then wait and see what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of sidestepping it, which I used to do also. Okay, that makes so much more sense. I was a little confused. Awesome. So I know we have to start wrapping up. I know it's been a little bit of time. I know you've written 12 books, so just in a second, I would love to hear a little bit more about those. Yeah. But what is one action listeners can take this week to help move them forward towards their goal of 1 million?
I would say do that cord cutting thing and go to freekickstarter.com and get all 6 videos and do those every day for 30 days. And I bet your life will turn around.
So what was the URL again for the 6 videos?
Freekickstarter.com.
So like Kickstarter, but free Kickstarter, and you own that domain. Oh, wow.
I do. Isn't that wild?
Yeah. That's not
I don't know how I ended up with it, but I wished it and I have it.
Okay. Go ahead and check that out, everyone. And what are some of the books that you have? Are they on Amazon also?
Everything's on Amazon. One is 12 Essential Energies for Personal Power to really get our powerful selves out there. Another one that's a little random is The Secret Energy of Sex. I have actually found that people have wonky sex energy and it messes up their business, weirdly enough. And I talk about that.
That's really interesting.
I have The Secret Energy of Health, The Secret Energy of Food. We've got the 5 Essential Energies to Immediate Success.
Great. Awesome. Do you have them all on your website too? Can you say your website again? And can you spell it for everybody so that way they can hear it? Because so they know how to spell your name.
I know. It's Sheevaun, SheevaunMoran.com. And then just hit the shop store and you can find it, or just go to Amazon.
Awesome. And we'll definitely link that up. I know everybody needs to be able to spell it, but make sure you link it in the show notes so that way we can check it out. Thanks so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I had so much fun.
Thank you for listening and investing in yourself with your time. I so appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would be forever grateful if you would be willing to leave a rating or review in whatever app you use for your podcast. I know that's what really bumps it up in the rankings. And I would so appreciate your time, especially if you've been a long-time listener. But of course, if you like this episode and you're brand new, thank you for being here too. Have an amazing, amazing day.